Okay, first I should apologize very much for the week-long delay. I did have some issues with the microphone, but luckily I have cleared them all out. And so here I present with love and educational fervor how to decide the language you most want to learn. And ignore the date on the presentation. Let's go ahead and hop right in with great enthusiasm. So, with us overlooking with great admiration the various pictures from the airport in Bangkok on the right, let's go ahead and discuss exactly what variety of situation this presentation is best suited for. So this is a conundrum that I have faced very, very often, and I know very much so that I'm not the only one to go through it. I actually probably read about 5 posts to this effect on Facebook every day. So the issue is, let's say you say on what's on the screen, I have a number of languages I want to learn, and I know it would be best for me to focus on one of them, but I can't decide which one on the list to pick. So that's exactly what we're going to solve today. So let's go ahead and first discuss the most important thing on the issue, that this is your choice, not someone else's, and as a result, only your opinion and feelings on the issue matter. And so one thing I would not recommend doing is deferring to friends, deferring to websites, deferring to teachers or top 10 lists. This is why you're not going to hear me mention any specific language over the course of this presentation. The only thing that really should matter is your feelings about which language to pick. And so chances are you probably, either on a notebook or on a post-it note or what have you, you have a list of languages you want to learn, and so now you're probably considering what you do with it. So the first thing I would definitely recommend is go through each one on the list, and then while pondering each one and conjuring a wistful mental image in your brain, think about how you would use each one, and then consider, for example, what variety of good feelings you would get from it. And so, for example, the way that I would, for example, use Fijian would largely be, for example, with lots of music. However, if I were to primarily learn a language of Asia, I could pretty much go anywhere in the subway system in New York City and use it with native speakers. And those are very, very different things, both considerably valuable, but they would really give you different feelings in many respects. And also think about the online communities, the various windows that will open up to you, whether that be either on the internet or in real life. Another thing that I definitely would recommend is finding stuff online in that language, and music in each of the languages as well. So what you really, really want to do is find out what variety of good feelings you really are going to get as a result of genuinely immersing yourself in this language. Because if you really can't find material that you can really build an attachment to, then racking up the necessary hours necessary for fluency is going to become a chore, and you will give up very quickly. And so throughout this process, be cognizant of a certain feeling of excitement that may drive you to obsession concerning studying a given language. And so find that feeling, and that should be precisely what you're looking for. It should be a deep passion that will cause you to want to drop everything and fully explore this culture's language and become literate in all the culture's traditions, values, and everything else associated with it. And then possibly, if you still can't decide, walk around outside and then think about which languages seem to persist with that feeling of wanting to explore it. Does your mind keep on going back to the thought of a specific musical artist, a specific region of town, a specific friend circle or literature series that you've been looking to explore? Is it almost that you fancy the language in a sense, the feeling that you absolutely must have it? And above all, you should really pick the one that will provide you the best feelings above all else. Because when you study it, or even if you think about studying it, it should be a cause for daydreaming. And almost like wishing as though you could drop whatever work or whatever task you are doing at the moment, and that you could genuinely immerse yourself in that language, whether it be reading from a book, talking with people, speaking to a tutor, or even listening to music. And then, of course, there is the issue of the tie. In that case, I would recommend finding some variety of app where you can explore the language on a surface level. Some recommendations I would have would be Memrise. If they don't have a memorized course in your language, you're welcome to find phrase lists and make your own course on the desktop version. And any course you make or use on the desktop version can also go to the app version as well. Dear Memrise, please bring back the user-made courses search on the app. Thank you. We have been very angry about the fact that it is gone. Okay, and then of course, you talk courses in 140 plus languages. The fact is that while yes, you do need subscription or to unlock all of the content, all of the first skills in all of the 140 plus languages is unlocked, and those will effectively give you numbers 1 to 3, how to, for example, the restroom, hello, thank you, yes, and no. I think a total of 15 phrases for each of the beginner skills, so go ahead and see if you really like the various sounds of the language, and definitely sample the ones you're thinking of in UTalk. Omniglot's phrase lists and also their lists of resources are also fantastic as well. And lastly, online video tutorials, of which there are many, including some of my own, that were actually made, given that I'm a non-native speaker, but more like exploring it for the legendary sport of making a fool of myself on video. Ain't that great? Okay, so you may find that in this process your feelings will develop towards a particular one of these languages. And then once you really have that magnetism, then make the decision to invest immediately. And then let's say you still can't pick. So one thing I definitely would recommend, and I'm shocked at the fact that almost no one else I know has ever considered recommending this. Read about the various places where the languages are spoken either online or at your local bookstore. And so I could recommend travel books such as Lonely Planet or The Rough Guide or many others I forgot if they're available, but also the Culture Smart books are very good, as well as the Xenophobes Guides series. I'll explain both of these right now. So the Culture Smart books are little small, fairly formally written books that can fit in your pocket. Each one of them really details, from an insider perspective, the various values and histories and quirks of various cultures. You not only have perennial favorites such as France and the United States, but sometimes you can even have Uzbekistan and Ghana present in that series. They have a lot of major countries from throughout the entire world, and including a number of considerably small ones as well. A lot of them are very informative. A lot of them will really give you fantastic facts to impress your friends of these cultures, not also to mention friends who know nothing of them. And the Xenophobes Guides is, don't be fooled by the title, it's actually a British humor series. And I think the most recent entries have been the Xenophobes Guides to the Frisians and Xenophobes Guides to the Brazilians. And they're about 100 pages long. They really describe the cultural mentalities of these places in a British humor style. And that actually really makes a lot of the content very educational, but also very deeply engaging to read. These are the Xenophobes Guide series. You can actually sample the first 20 pages of any of them at xenophobes.com. And in addition to that, you can buy PDF versions of the books from the website. I haven't encountered too many of them in bookstores in the United States, but in Europe, especially in Scandinavia, I've heard that they're actually very popular. I also think they've been translated into Russian as well. And then lastly, an important note. If any language stops giving you any warm feelings, or if you feel as though it is a chore, unless you need it for entertainment or for work, in which case you probably already have some feelings towards it, drop it immediately. You can go back to it later, and the fact is that you will actually retain a lot more than you realize. The fact is that life is too short and too precious for using your time to learn something or maintain something you don't really want to, and this applies to absolutely everything. And on that note, I would like to wish you happy choosing. And so the next topic for next Friday, suggested by Deadman Animations in a comment, Jared, how did or does your personal background affect your language learning processes? Good question. That'll be a good question to answer next week. Have a good run, and see you next time.